Hello everyone and welcome to the series Zero to Hero. In this series I will be starting on a fresh account and trying to get the achievement Keystone Hero. I will be starting from level 0 and along the way I will be teaching you all there is to know about WoW from a beginner's perspective. We will cover topics such as keybinds, making gold, the auction house add-ons and many others. I hope to make this series such that someone being completely new to the game can use it as a reference and a jumping off point. So let's get started. Upon launching the game and logging in, you will first be presented with this character selection screen. If you picked this game up because a friend recommended it to you, you might want to play on the same realm as him, because that means you'll be able to be in the same guild as him. And to choose which realm you play on, you have to click on this back button and then click on this change realm button. From here you'll be taken to the realm selection screen, and from here you can just find whichever realm your friend plays on and pick that one. Other reasons you might want to choose a different realm, there really aren't that many anymore. A lot of things, most instance content is cross-realm now. Even the people you see in game aren't all necessarily from the same realm. So aside from playing with your friends, there really isn't much of a reason to choose any specific realm over another. I'm going to go with full realm just because I like to see a lot of people on the realm, but whatever you feel like will be fine. Upon choosing your realm, you'll be taken back to the character creation screen, and here the first choice you'll have to make is whether you want to align yourself with the Alliance, the so-called Noble Alliance, or the Proud Nations of the Horde. Nowadays, the main difference between the Alliance and the Horde is the storylines you see and the characters or the NPCs you interact with. A lot of content is becoming cross-faction as well. For example, dungeons. You can completely run dungeons. A human can run a dungeon with an orc without many issues. There's also talk of guilds becoming cross-factions, so there's becoming less and less of a reason to be like strongly aligned with a faction. Except for maybe if you want to pick a specific race or you really like the storyline of the Horde or the Alliance. But otherwise I would just suggest picking the faction like based on feel, based on the aesthetics. Don't think about it too much. Another thing you might notice is that some of the races are grayed out. These are the so-called allied races, and you have to unlock them from within the game. If you hover over them, you can see that to unlock this race you have to reach level 40 and visit the embassy and complete a quest. At some point these races were locked behind reputation grinds, but nowadays it's basically just reaching a specific level and doing their respective quest, which I will also be showing at some point. As you can see, I have already unlocked a few of the races, but for the interest of this series I'm just gonna choose one of the base races. The next thing, or one of the things when choosing a race you might want to consider, is the race's so-called racial abilities. You can't see them when just hovering over the portraits, but if you right click you will see that the racial traits appear. So for example, for gnomes they have an ability that lets them escape from speed altering effects. They attack faster, they have increased engineering skills. For Draenei, their jewel crafting is increased and other options. This isn't as important as anymore, like these don't play that much of a role unless you're really going into high-end content, but I imagine most people starting off won't. So I mean, you can look at the racial traits. If something really excites you, sure, go ahead, but I would mostly recommend picking the race based on aesthetics. For me, I'm gonna be doing this playthrough the gnome. After you have decided on a race, then you have to pick one of the many classes that this game has to offer. You can just click around them, see what they look like. If you hover over the icon, it gives a brief description. It also tells you what the role of the class is. WoW works so that you basically have tanks, DPS and a healer. For now I don't recommend you think about that too much, just pick a race that looks cool to you. I don't really think there are many classes that only have one role, so a lot of classes can be either damage dealers or healers and tanks. There are a few roles that are purely damage dealers, but I don't recommend stressing about that too much right now. Just pick any class that you think looks cool and that you think you might want to play. For me, I will be picking a Warlock. A Warlock is, if we hover over here, a ranged damage, so a ranged damage dealer. He casts spells, he uses demons, he uses fel energy, and he's also quite tanky and has pets that can help him, which I think makes it a good option for people starting out, but it is not necessary. You can pick whichever class you want and you won't have any issues leveling throughout the game. Once you have selected your class and your race, you can also, of course, now customize your character. You can choose a specific body type, which you can then even further customize. So after you have created the character that you want and chosen a name, you will be given an option to choose your starting zone. There's the so-called old starting zone, Nomergon, which is different for every race, and then is a new starting zone called Exile's Reach, which Blizzard implemented not too long ago. For me, I recommend for new players to start with Exile's Reach because it had a lot of thought put into it to be a good starting zone, especially for new players. It explains a lot of key concepts, the progression of the zone is very smooth, and it teaches you a lot about the game in just a very short and condensed period of time. So I would recommend choosing Exile's Reach. And once you have made your decision, click on Finish, and you are ready to start your adventure. So join me next time when we enter the world of Azeroth and finish the Exile's Reach starting zone.